And welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab here, along with Les Jackson, and we've got a full hour of great automotive news and information. I think that people are going to be, well, some of the things they won't be happy about because our first story, Les, involves the number 20,000, the figure 20,000. Seems like you can't get a new car for 20,000 anymore or a used car.
As an interesting coincidence, I went with a friend of mine to CarMax this week. He was selling his old Subaru, and I happened to ask the guy, "What can you get for 20,000?" He pointed to a bicycle. It's
Yeah.
and sadly, I think he was probably being real.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so we'll talk about that and some of the factors that are going on in there. And then we'll also talk about Acura revealing their new electric vehicle, which is called the ZDX. And that's a pretty exciting vehicle.
Yep.
Sporting the two-tone there.
I love two-tone, and the folks at Rivian seem to be destroying their tires. It could be a big problem for future EV car makers. I must confess, when I'm driving one, you can't resist the urge to stand on the accelerator.
Yeah.
Which tends to burn up tires.
Yeah. It could be a problem, too. It has to do with the weight of the vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
So it could
Big
be a
problem
for future vehicles. We'll also talk about the Altima, the Nissan Altima. There's some pricing on that. And then I'll have an at-the-wheel review of the LS500, the big vehicle that is basically Lexus's S-Class, very luxurious vehicle. You get limo-like seating in the back and all with a recliner, with an ottoman, and it's pretty cool.
Pick me up, will you?
Yeah, I will pick you up, and
I'll just drive anywhere.
Yeah.
Take a nap.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all coming up on Cruise Control, and we will be right back.
This is Cruise Control. Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
That's right. Welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. It is time to begin, and we've got a great hour of automotive information for you. A lot going on, information that you might be able to use if you're buying a new vehicle, and plenty of new reveals. All that, plus Les Jackson.
That's right. I'm here too. And speaking of buying a new vehicle, one of the stories we're going to talk about is what's happened here. You can't buy a new car for $20,000, and 20 grand doesn't even get you a used one. And
Yeah.
Man, this is beginning to be shocking.
Yeah, it certainly is. And, we'll talk about some of the factors that cause that to be the deal. And then we're also going to talk about Acura revealing a new vehicle, and it is all electric, and it is the ZDX. So we'll talk about that and take a look at it and, talk a little bit about Acura's future as well, right?
Yeah, pretty attractive vehicle. We'll discuss it. And Why are Rivians destroying their tires? And could it be a big problem in the future for EV cars in general? Well, it's a weighty issue.
Very well done, Les. Yes, it is a
Thank
weighty
you.
issue, and it is an issue that I think we're going to see a lot more in the
Yeah, I
future.
think so.
Yeah. So one company, Les, is repowering Porsches with electric drivetrains. We'll talk a little bit about that. Is this going to be an
Yep.
industry trend? What do you think?
Well, I think it's a great idea. If you've ever driven an old Porsche, you really want more power. And Nissan uh, has priced out their Altima.
Yeah, yeah, that's a little less expensive than maybe a Porsche that's converted
Oh, I
to
hope so.
electric. Yeah, but one vehicle that's going to have going to cost you a little bit more than that
A bit.
is the LS500 all-wheel drive. This is my at the wheel review. This is a great vehicle. It is basically their Mercedes S-Class, the top of the range. Uh, the rear seat passengers get an ottoman, and they can control the car through their touchscreen controller in the center console. Twin turbocharged V6. So we'll be talking about this. You know what? The big thing here is Lexus has finally gone to a touchscreen dash. Remember, they used to have that pad, like sort of like a
Right. Oh,
laptop.
yeah, like a mouse thing.
Yeah, well, they've gone away from that and updated and gotten along with a touchscreen. So we'll talk about that. Incredible interior in that vehicle. But that's all coming up on Cruise Control. I'm Fred Staab. He is Les Jackson. We will be right back on Cruise Control.
Cruise Control.
Hey, welcome back to Cruise Control. Fred and I are anxious to get started today because we have a lot to cover, and probably the thing that hits everyone's pocketbooks the most is getting a vehicle for some kind of small amount of money. Small these days is $20,000, which is still a lot of money, but you can't really find anything. Well, there's one vehicle, the Nissan Versa, that you can buy new for less than 20,000, but that's about it. And then if you want a used car, good luck. I
You're
mean,
out of
you
luck.
can buy something for that money, but it's going to be old with a lot of miles on it, and we don't recommend that.
Yeah, this is actually a new study by ACURZ.com, and they said the average used car's price has increased by 47.7% since the pandemic. We all know the prices went way
Yep.
up. We all know, like I told the story of someone that was a friend of mine that was buying a Ford Edge. It went up $10,000. But Les, this is, I don't think this trend has gone away. Uh, in 2019, about 50% of used Honda CR-Vs and Toyota RAV4s cost less than 20,000, but in 2023, only 2% of those vehicles cost less than 20,000.
Yeah. And of course, obviously, the dealers have tried to keep these prices up, but um, and the supply was low, but now I think it's pretty much back to normal. Fred, don't you?
It is, but I think the new normal is they're not going to sell anything for under $20,000.
Yeah, and that's a real problem because an awful lot of people need decent transportation and they don't have much money to spend. So where do they get it? Well, they get it in some of the smaller independent car lots, but so many of those have iffy reputations.
Yeah.
It's a real problem.
Well, just look at this example from IC Cars. The average price for a used Ram 1500, $27,324. That was back in 2019. Now the average price for a used Ram 1500, $42,881, and it
Oh,
has double the mileage that
oh,
the lower priced one had. That's
that's well. I mean, just at that point, save up and buy a new one. You're buying miles when you buy any vehicle, new or old. You're buying how many miles you can get before you have to replace it.
Yeah. Well, just look
So
at some of these other vehicles. We talked about the Toyota RAV4. Average price in 2019 was 20,640. Average price in 2023 is 29,094. I mean,
that's
if you added
that's
less than
33%.
5,000 to
Yeah,
that, you would have a new vehicle, right?
it's absolutely. And you're buying. It used to be that you bought a used vehicle because it was the best bargain in terms of miles per dollar. But boy, it sure isn't true now.
No, it isn't. I mean, you can keep going down the list. Uh, So, are there anything? I really don't see much at all. I do remember you used to see a lot of vehicles in the high teens, you know. But
That's
like,
right.
for example, a Hyundai Tucson, right? Average price in 2019 used was 18,270. Now it's 23,869. I guess they just figure, well, the new one's $30,000.
Well, yeah. Plus, now, granted, the newer one might be, or the newer old one might have a few more features in it, but still, for that price to jump that much in a short period of time is just a big shock.
Now, let's say you want to buy something new for under 20K. You mentioned the Versa. The Versa is no longer, it's over 20K. So the
Yeah.
only one
Well,
that
yeah.
was left was the 2023 Mitsubishi Mirage, and that is going to be
That's
discontinued.
discontinued.
Yeah.
So you can buy a used one, but don't.
Yeah, used,
Uh,
used. Yeah, I don't know about that, but it's just not there anymore. The $20,000 car, and it's a bit shocking if you haven't bought a vehicle. But hey, we're trying to reduce that shock. But when we come back, probably it's not going to cost $20,000, but we will take a look at the brand new ZDX from Acura. Stay tuned. And we will be right back with more cruise control, so stay tuned. Do you remember the least expensive car you ever bought, Les?
New
Yeah,
or
newer,
old?
newer. Well, I remember my Renault was pretty inexpensive new. I
Well,
had
yeah,
a
because nobody wanted it.
yeah, it was a good
We
car. It really was. It was a base model, and it didn't
actually,
even have a radio in it when I got it.
yeah, they make good cars. They
Encore. It
they
was an Encore.
the Encore was a good car. The Le Car was not.
Yes, I had a neighbor that had a little car and then ended up being shoved behind his garage, and it may still be there to this day. I don't know.
Yeah. Um, the I my first car I bought, I paid $130 for it,
Okay.
and it was a 9-year-old 1950 Ford. Um,
A
And I,
9-year-old is not terrible.
oh no, I paid my Falcon, which was a terrific car. I paid $500 for it,
Wow.
and it was 18 months old.
That's a new
But
car.
it had been a race car, but it was in flawless condition.
Low miles, but not driven to
Low
church on Sundays.
miles, yes, driven at very high speeds.
High
But
speeds and
I put 100,000 miles on that thing um, before selling it. But
we're coming
and
back
you,
in.
It
Here we
only
go.
takes a minute to find out if you
oh.
may have pre-diabetes.
We are not. Okay. Welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson. We are right here with you, and we're glad you're along for the ride. Let's talk about something new from ACURA, Les, that was revealed this week. And it kind of talks about their future, doesn't it? It's the future of Acura. It is the all-electric 2024 Acura ZDX and ZDX Type S, and they made a dramatic reveal this week.
it's first of all, in my estimation, it's the first Acura that really, really draws your attention. Acura has been the premium brand for Honda for quite a number of years, close to 30, but it's never had the same kind of attention that Lexus does or Infiniti, because I think it just hasn't. Well, I don't know. They're perfectly decent looking. They drive great, but I think they're sort of less obvious, less noticeable.
You mean
This?
They don't stand out compared to Honda, you're saying?
Well, they don't seem to, and yet, when you drive one, it clearly is far nicer, different than a Honda.
Mm-hmm.
But with all the quality that Honda is known for. But the ZDX, I think they've really done quite a job. This is something that people are going to notice.
Yeah. It's got a 325-mile range, which is a great start. And that is in the A-Spec model, which has one motor, but they have others with more motors. It is the first all-electric Acura, and it will start about $60,000, not $20,000. And they're just very excited about it. I mean, it has a lot of technology from Google, meaning Google built in, which means you don't have to even hook your phone up. It is just right there. And that's something that I used a lot on Volvos and some other vehicles. It works really, really well. And it also has Bang & Olufsen luxury audio. And in the Type S variant, Acura Watch 360-degree plus with hands-free cruise. So it is basically sort of like a Super Cruise, something like that. Where you can, on certain roads, take your hands off. Now, you have the A-Spec, which is the single motor model. They're talking about 340 horsepower in that. And in the dual motor model, you're talking about 500 horsepower. So range with the single motor, 325. And then you can get the A-Spec with the dual motor as well. That would have a 315 mile range. The S-Type, you pay the price, 288 miles of range, right?
Well, you're using up fuel, the electricity, and to gain that power. And you have to remember that 300 horsepower or 500 in an electric vehicle is right there the moment you touch the throttle, whereas in a gas-powered vehicle, you don't reach the rated horsepower until you're way up in the rev range.
Exactly.
So big difference in the way these things feel.
And another reason you lose range in that ZDX S-Type is you're spinning 22-inch wheels versus 20-inch wheels. That's actually a lot of weight, right?
That's right. Again, you're using power. You're using your fuel. You don't have to, floor the accelerator. You can kind of nurse it, and you'll do probably better, somewhat better in mileage, but still, upwards of 300 miles is quite a range. That's very similar to what most of the other manufacturers are doing.
Yeah. And you do get 3,500 pounds of towing capability. So there is a little utility there as well. So more details will follow, but that's kind of about it that we have so far.
Yeah, we have some pricing. They're saying that the base model, let's call it, is going to be 60,000.
Right.
And the upper is 70,000, which, as electric vehicles, especially premium, go, that's not bad.
No, it's who would have thought we would have said
and again,
70,000.
every time I say that, I find myself saying, "Hey, that's a lot of money."
Yeah, that's a lot of money. But there you have it, something new from Acura, and we'll be following up and getting more information as we know more about it. It is the ZDX. And I like the interior. Looks very high-end, don't you think?
Yeah, I have to say, I'm very, very attracted to that interior.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about our next story about Rivian destroying their tires. Now, if you're not familiar with Rivian, Rivian is a high-end brand. They make pickup trucks. They make SUVs. They're pretty innovative, right?
Absolutely. And I do see a fair number of Rivians around the DC area here.
Yeah. Well, the R1T has apparently, R1S and R1T, according to this article in The Drive, have been apparently destroying their tires, premature front tire wear, and they last anywhere from 6,000 to 12,000 miles, which is not much. And I was talking about pounds because you look at the weight of these vehicles. The R1T weighs 7,148 pounds, which is more than an F-250 Super Duty King Ranch with the standard V8 engine.
That's right, of which close to 2,000 pounds is the battery.
Yes.
So, those tires have to support the weight. They have to support the torque.
Mm-hmm.
Instant torque. And it's, you would think 6,000 miles in the worst case. That's pretty short duration for tire life. Although when I bought my '71 Corvette, which I walked through the assembly line, they came standard with wide ovals. Remember?
Right, Firestone wide ovals. Right.
Firestone wide ovals, and they were not long-wearing tires. And my rear wide ovals, and I never burned rubber with it, lasted 4,000 miles.
Wow, that's pretty bad. Alignment, maybe. It could be alignment, and that's what they're saying here with Rivian, that the alignment may be out, and there's also a conserve driving mode that lowers the vehicle down for aerodynamics, and that changes the toe out or toe in of the tires.
I don't like toe in changes.
Yeah. So yeah, if you have a Rivian, something to watch out for. Let us know if that's an issue for you.
Yeah.
They do have Pirelli has a limited warranty for the tires. It's designed specifically for Rivian. It's a 50,000-mile warranty, covers the standard Pirelli Scorpion All-Terrain Plus, but the fine print says you have to rotate the tires every 5 to 7 miles to ensure even wear, and it also mentions mechanical irregularities like a misalignment as something that...
So you have to prove that it's properly aligned?
And it is a new vehicle. You would think it was properly aligned, but there you have it. So,
and a set of replacement tires is $1,792.
Wow! So every 6,000, you're almost getting like the Bugatti. Well, that's 17,000, right? For a new set of tires. So, let's talk about something a little bit different, and that is pricing for the Nissan Altima 2024. Doesn't start at $20,000, but does start at $25,730, which is not terrible as far as things go these days.
The Altima is a nice car, I believe, for the money. I've always liked them. They're a good size. They're comfortable.
Excellent.
I think that's a very fair price.
Well, we'll talk more about that pricing and what you get for the money on the Altima when we come back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staab. He's Les Jackson. We will be right back. More Cruise Control coming up, so stay tuned. More Cruise Control coming up. Fred Staab, Les Jackson. Next up, we're going to talk about the Altima, Les, and we'll do that after the break here. But that's a good, affordable car as far as things go today. And we're also going to talk about a company called Sacrilege. Sacrilege is a company that converts classic 911s to electric power. I would imagine they do it non-destructively.
I would assume so.
Here we go. We're coming in.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back. Go ahead. Let's take it.
Thank you. All righty. Welcome back to Cruise Control. You just heard Fred. I'm Les, and we are going to talk about the new 2024 Nissan Altima pricing because I think it's a bargain.
Yeah, I think so too. After what we've been talking about.
Well, yes, but the fact is, an Altima is one of those cars that you have to drive to appreciate because they're nicer than you think they might be.
Yeah,
and the pricing starts at $25,730, which is wow. I'm saying it again. I'm hearing myself saying it. It's cheap at today's prices.
Yeah. And there are, it was completely restyled in 2023, but it's getting some, I think, some good updates, including a newly styled V-Motion grille. Here's the big one, newly standard LED taillights. That's a good one, right?
Okay.
Headlights, I should say.
Headlights, right. Yeah, that's important.
New aluminum alloy wheels, revised instrument panel finishings, and 2 new exterior colors. So it's a refresh because it was brand new last year, but still, to get LED headlights, that's a good upgrade.
That's right, and you get a 12.3-inch HD color touchscreen.
Excellent.
With all of the apps that you expect it to have.
Yep.
Wireless phone port, Fred.
Yeah, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. which is great. Nissan door-to-door navigation system, a wireless phone charging pad, and Wi-Fi hotspot. All the goodies you need. Safety Shield is standard as it is. Safety Shield 360 is standard as it is, I believe, on the full Nissan lineup, including automatic emergency braking, pedestrian detection, blind spot warning, rear cross traffic alert, lane departure, high beam assist, and rear automatic braking.
That's a lot of stuff, standard.
Yeah, that is a lot of stuff standard. And that comes on the Altima S front-wheel drive for $25,730, which is not bad. There's two engines you can get, a 2.5-liter four-cylinder, which gives you a range of up to 39 miles on the highway, and in the front-wheel drive S and SV grades, and 27 miles per gallon in the city and 37 on the highway combined for the front-wheel drive SR and SL models. And then you can also get their variable compression turbo engine with 248 horsepower, which puts that out when you use 93 octane. But really, when you come in, even if you go up 2 grades of car and get, let's say, the SV or the SR, you're still well under $28,000, which is pretty
well,
good.
That's right. And I'm not right at hand. I can't tell you the differences between the S and the SR, for instance. Obviously more features, but I just can't enumerate them. And I think you can deal on these some.
I agree. I think you can do a little deal, and, you know, it's interesting. They have a SV Premium Package wireless phone charger delete. I'm wondering if that is still missing parts. I don't know. Why would you delete it?
Well,
for $50? I'd rather have it.
Yeah, I don't. Well, maybe. Yeah. Or now, I mean, there's some things like splash guards that are optional. I don't actually. That's a factory installed option on the S, which means I guess you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
I don't want them.
You want the splash guard delete.
That's right. Premium paint, which is of course going to be any color you really want, is $395. Okay, I'll pay that. I know you want the rear spoiler.
As long as it's 10 feet tall. Yes.
Yeah. It has Fred printed on it in
LED
bold
lights.
Letters.
Yeah, LED lights. Yeah.
Yeah. But
so,
most of the standard stuff is really all I'm looking for.
Yeah. I guess the thing is, if you go to a dealer, will they have it without all these port installed options?
I think you'll have to order it.
Yeah, because otherwise they load it up with that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. So, interesting. But yeah, that is the new $20,000 car for $25,000, right?
Well, I can't really fault it. It is a very fairly priced car.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Porsches. Okay.
Okay.
This is a company called Sacrilege Motors, and they are in Lakeville, Connecticut, and it says it right here, Les. I have to say it. They are a bespoke performance restoration electric conversion studio.
Well, it has to be bespoke because that's a lot of work, a lot of engineering.
Well, what they do, they restore 911s and EV convert them, and they use all kinds of things like Penske racing shocks and things like that to make them handle even better. For its first commission, they restored and performance-tuned and EV converted a Porsche 911 America Roadster, a U.S. version of the Carrera, and one of 250 built. It was named Blackbird by its owner in honor of the supersonic SR-71.
which is why they call themselves sacrilege, because I can see the Porsche Club members screaming right now, how could you have done that?
Yeah.
You should have sold it to us.
Yeah. Well, you think about it. They're not destroying the vehicles. They call it non-destructive modification. So you're unbolting the engine. It's not like you could never go back to the engine, I would imagine, right?
They probably give you all the original parts.
Mm-hmm.
And, I like the idea. I think they solve a lot of earlier Porsche problems, which was trailing throttle oversteer. And we don't have a price on this. I suspect this is not
high.
what
I
you
think
would
it's
call,
high.
High. Not as much as a brand new Porsche, but I think you're going to spend a number of tens of thousands. And they say that it'll actually drive far better than the original ever would have.
I probably agree with that, and it says here, right in the press release, out of respect for Porsche and to respect Porsche's trademark rights, these 911 should never, under any circumstances, be referred to as a sacrilege 911, a sacrilege Porsche 911, or a Porsche sacrilege 911. Or in any manner that suggests that is anything but a Porsche 911 that has been restored and converted to electric power by sacrilege motors.
But you named the company. You didn't have to name the company Sacrilege.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody will call it, this is a Sacrilege 911.
It is, or a sacrilege.
Made by Sacrilege.
Yeah.
I like the idea. I think I love the idea of people putting electric drivetrains into old VW buses, microbuses, Corvairs.
Oh, yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, there's a lot of companies on the West Coast that have been doing it with Volkswagens and things like that. So I think we're going to see more of it. And even Jaguar, did it to some of their vehicles. So yeah. Real quick before the break, what you got, Les?
Well, how big do you think the battery is in this? Because I don't think there's a lot of room for one. So the range is probably not great.
Yeah, we'll have to find out on that. I'm not sure, but Cruise Control will be back right after this.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Les, what do you say we do an at-the-wheel review? And this time,
well,
it's a big Lexus.
We are testing vehicles, and we love to review them. So you have an awfully plush one. Did you go to the gentleman's club for dinner with it?
Yeah, it is a big one. It is the Lexus LS500 all-wheel drive model, and this 2023 edition. A couple of new things for it this year. It gets a 12.3-inch touchscreen display, which replaces that trackpad that was similar to something you might find on a laptop. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto go wireless, which they should with a car of this level. And attention to detail with more USB ports. They are now USB-C ports to meet the needs of modern equipment. And this one has a starting MSRP of $77,735. but ours went well beyond that, and we'll talk about that in a minute. This is iridium is the color. It is a silver, certainly elegant and stately. On the inside, it is dramatic. There is white and black interior. The cards on the door are sort of like almost like the wings of a bird, the design. A lot of stitching, almost a little Art Deco when you look at the dash with chrome strips and things like that. That was my impression, sort of an Art Deco look. And kind of an old school look for a big car, if you think about that, with lots of chrome on the dash. Still has the Frankenstein knobs for drive mode, but now it has a 12.3-inch touchscreen display, very responsive, and certainly brings it up to the standards of other cars. A little stubby shifter that sometimes didn't go into the gear. You had to get kind of used to the feel of it. Got some open grain, open pore wood on the in various spots in the dash and on the console. Out back, well, it is total luxury. Still got the great level of trim that you do out front, but you have two seats that can recline, and the passenger side one has an added trick because it has an ottoman that will come out for your legs. You can control virtually everything. Your personal moonroof. You can move the seat forward, all from this control panel that is on the back console there. And hold on a second. And then you have a under the hood. You have a V6 twin turbo engine that is very responsive. It is a 3.4 liter twin turbo, 416 horsepower. Out back, really nice detail in the trunk because it's all finished off wonderfully. Not a huge trunk, by the way. It gets kind of narrow in the back. But it is big enough, and of course you do get your first aid kit, Les. I know that is one of the big things that you wanted to do, but wanted to have. Of course, up front you have the traditional look of the Lexus lineup with the big grille, and it is very formal outside, very formal. Although it is sort of a fastback in the back. Now you might be asking, how much does this cost? We told you it starts at $77,735, and that is without the destination charge. But let's option it up here and talk about what we paid. We had the Lexus safety system and pre-collision pedestrian alert intersection, turning and assist, and forward cross-traffic alert. All of this is in a giant package for $3,200. We had adaptive variable air suspension for $1,400. We had a digital mirror for $200. We had 20-inch 10-spoke wheels with gloss black and machine finish, $920. Head-up display, $1,200. Then we have the executive package, white interior, white semi-aniline leather, black matte, laser special wood. That is the open pore. 28-way power driver and passenger seat with massage and butterfly headrests. Ultra suede headliner. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. This was in a huge package of $7,380. 23 speaker Mark Levinson sound system, $1,940. Premium paint, $500. Panoramic glass roof, $1,000. Panoramic view monitor, $800. Premium wood trim, $800. Wood and leather heated steering wheel, $400. Grand total.
Wow.
Have you been adding along, Les? The grand total.
My calculator just exploded.
$109,385. But
Okay.
it is sort of like an apartment in the back. I mean,
And it's much less expensive than an S-Class Mercedes.
I would say easily by $20,000 or more.
I would say so, yeah.
I love the display in the back. If you're sitting there, everything is controllable, and that you have your own private sunroof, which is
Yeah,
a big thing. And you're able to control that front seat and stretch out. It was very comfortable. I actually sat back there, and I thought, well, you could take a nap back here. It is very comfortable. More comfortable than a business class seat on an airplane. That's for sure. And the sun, well, you had sunshades all the way around. Lexus is still covering up their engines completely with their engine covers. This one had a little door so you could get in to check the oil or add oil, actually to add oil. And one thing I would say, the trunk was not all that big. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not all that big for a big car. I think a lot of the room was taken up by the seats and the mechanisms to move them around. But it is certainly nicely finished. One of the best finished trunks that I have found. So there you have it. It did get some nice upgrades, and upgrades that a car of this ilk should have. So
let me ask you quickly. The color, the silver color in the video looks a little bit washed out. How rich looking was it?
It was a lighter color silver. It was a lighter color silver, so it's not a dark silver or anything like that. It was almost a very light color silver. And yes, a sunny day, it's hard to capture.
Yeah. Well, okay, just curious.
Yeah, but there you have it. That is the Lexus LS500. All-wheel drive, which is nice to see that it's all-wheel drive, too, because you certainly want to go off-roading with this.
Right.
So Lexus always does it well. They really do. And I think if you're looking for a traditional sedan, this one is made in Japan and shipped here. And the destination, I'm sure, is pretty high. Let me see if I can get down to that. I don't think so. Yeah. Yep, I got it. Hang on. Yeah, well, $1,150. I should state with destination, it is $110,535. Yep. Mileage, 17 city, 27 highway. So
not super impressive, but it's a lot of car.
Yeah. So that is the LS500 all-wheel drive from Lexus. Time for me to say, I'm Fred Staab.
I'm Les Jackson.
We are going to see you down the road.
Bye.